So, any CODEC moments from you, Snake?
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 1 of the CODEC Moments podcast. I'm joined here as hopefully always with Flash Medallion. How you doing today?
Doing very good, thank you. How we going?
It's going. Don't know where it's going, but it's definitely going somewhere these days.
That's the start.
Yeah. So what's new going on with you? Anything fresh?
What's fresh? I've started the rehearsals for a show coming up. Had our first read through on Sunday, so that's still early days, of course. But yeah, keeping me occupied.
Nice.
Doing Othello.
Oh, word! I was just about to ask what it was. What's your part?
Yep. I'm Cassio in Othello, which is a pretty fun part. Relatively lighthearted as far as the show goes, which is bloody depressing. Absolutely depressing. I think it's definitely the most tragic of the tragedies. But so yeah, it's good. It's a good cast, good crew, and looking forward to that. Actually starts. When does it start? Tech Week begins on the 1st of September. So I did not think about that ahead of time going into it.
Nice. I used to do a little bit of drama. I did improv for like 3 or 4 years. My only like stage stuff was in high school, and like my introduction into stage was a Midsummer Night's Dream, and like I was I loved it, but like I was all geared up to like, oh cool, like I'm gonna get on stage, I'm finally gonna get into acting, blah blah blah, and I got the part of I think his name was Puck, the guy that had to kiss the other guy on stage.
Oh, that's hard out. That's like a really big part.
It was, but at the same time, I was like, oh, my first crack at the bat. Like, here I am, already like super socially awkward in high school. And, oh, yeah, this will really help my game. I'll kiss another guy on stage. We'll see how that goes.
My first show, actually, excuse me, getting into community theatre was Cabaret, which is basically set in World War II. It's about the rise of the Nazis, set in a cabaret club. So that was fun off the bat because there's all sorts of shit going on with the girls and kissing and dancing and rollicking. So that was a nice little introduction. Although I actually met my wife in that show. So there you go.
I was just about to ask if your wife was in it too, because I thought I remember like seeing some comment in the mess hall or something once upon a time about you going to one of her shows or something.
Yeah, we were in the same cast and we just had it off. So that's our little story. She's in the show as well at the moment. She's doing Jesus Christ Superstar, which opens next month. Yeah, so yeah, it's all on.
Yeah, that's an awesome show. Yeah, my side of things isn't that exciting. Had an interview at a restaurant today. They don't have a position for another couple weeks. The end. That's it for me over here. But no news is good news. Oh, I did have some good news this week, though. I don't know if y'all like read any of my comments in the mess hall or anything about my lease running out, but I was looking into maybe renewing it. That didn't pan out, but I looked at the terms, and I guess it lasts for another month. So I have till October now. Yep, so I will have a place to play Metal Gear Solid 5 when it comes out on release. Thank God. I got my priorities straight. Even if I wind up homeless in October, it doesn't matter because I've had a place to play Metal Gear Solid 5 for a month.
Good work, man. Good work.
Yeah, so at least there's that. So what you want to go ahead and take a look at the subreddit?
Yeah, let's have a squiz.
Yeah,
actually, here's an interesting one straight off the bat. Looking at top links of all time, I accidentally clicked to it. Our highest voted post is when Fresh announced the exclamation mark upvote in the CSS sheet. It's still sitting at the top there, so that's nice.
By like a pretty wide margin too, by like almost 1,000 points.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Nothing was more important to the subscribers of Metal Gear Solid than the exclamation point being added to the CSS. Not Metal Gear Solid 5 coming out, not the David Hayter replacement, not Hideo Kojima being let go from Konami, but the adding of an exclamation point to the CSS.
Well, really. And with good reason.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's I know this gets said like time and time again, but I mean the style and just everything that goes into the sub is the best I've seen by far on Reddit. You guys completely knocked it out of the park.
The visual design, I don't think I'm biased. Fresh is absolutely fantastic. Like in a fair world, he'd be getting hired for jobs based off the subreddit. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I mean, desperate to put anything on my resume right now. So I mean, like sitting right there on there with like some of my freelance marketing stuff is like, oh, and I do a stupid little weekly thing on a subreddit on Reddit, if you know what that is. But I'm sure you've heard the name, so maybe it will sound important to you.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, anything you can get at.
Yeah, anything you can scrape off. What oh wow, the next the number 2 post of all time isn't even that old. It's 6 days old. It's the little thumbs up spoof.
And that's our top link from the last week, funnily enough.
Yeah, there you go. It's kind of surprising to me that it's like not any of the new stuff that's ever at the top.
Yeah, it seems like it's getting there. As subscribers go up and things like that, later stuff you'd think would be at the top, but no, it goes back pretty well, eh? Sometimes just everyone goes, yeah, and all the people who hide. I hope you're listening, or you people who hide and don't even comment or say anything. Say hi one day or something. I don't know.
For sure. Drop into the mess hall, introduce yourself. I mean, I think that's how a lot of new people come in, too, is going to the mess hall. I mean, I've seen plenty of posts saying, hey, guys, I've been lurking here for a while. You've got a really good community going on. I started with, metalgearsolid 2 or 3 or 4 or what have you, yada, yada, yada. And I mean, that's kind of like if, I don't know if you're nervous or whatever about introducing yourself, but I mean, the mess hall is like a great way to just kind of, get to know people.
And it can be off-putting, I know, when I've been through it 1,000 times, go to visit a subreddit and there's all these people who all have stuff to say and know each other, and everyone goes, oh, yeah, it's cool. You're like, well, I have absolutely nothing to say here. And you sit there and look for a year or something, eh? So, no, get involved. Everyone's pretty cool, pretty good around here. I got to do that again.
This sub's one of the few ones that, like, when I first jumped on there and made my first post, and like usually I'm on Alien Blue, so I don't really look at the rules of subs, which I know that I should. But it's one of the few subs I've like hopped on there, made a post, and it wasn't like deleted within like 15 minutes because of some like completely arbitrary rule. Yeah,
that rule thing is something I'd really like to avoid if I can. We've tried to be really open about it because there's nothing worse than you go, oh, maybe someone will like this, and you go to some subreddit and they go, oh, sorry, you violated, Rule 4, Amendment 3, 1999 revision, so we removed your post. And it's like, well, fuck you.
Yeah. No, I got onto no, it's funny we're talking about this. I think it was just like 2 days ago. I had a hankering for something that hasn't been available in the United States for, I don't know, probably like 7 or 8 years now, is Pepsi Blue. I don't know if you guys ever had that over there, but I'm convinced it was made with just pure sunshine and happiness. It was the best soda I've ever had. And I went on to r/nostalgia, and I was like, oh, like maybe a lot of other people like wacky, stupid drinks from the 90s. And so I uploaded a picture of Pepsi Blue. I think the title was something like does anyone else remember this, or why don't they bring this back, or what have you? But it was deleted within 10 minutes, and then the little auto thing was like, oh, you didn't put the name of the product in the title, deleted. I was like, oh, fuck you then, it's just a fucking bottle of Pepsi. What can I say? I tried.
I tried. Yeah.
Just trying to contribute. Fuck you guys, never coming back here ever again.
Speaking of shitty Reddit, our second top post of the week is Reddit is doing fine, so which will be a reference to all that drama that I don't really feel like going into right now. Big boss at a computer on fire.
What I think it's Source Filmmaker or Source Movie Maker or whatever it is like that. But I love that when these things get popular, you just see like 10 of them at a time. I mean, I love these things. I love these little movies.
I like a lot of them. But yeah, you're dead right. I noticed the same thing. One got popular, and I was like, oh, we can all put our Source GIFs up here now. And then you just get a massive flood of them, yeah.
And I mean, I don't know, the titles of them is kind of what gets me. Like how you can kind of like apply anything to, like some stupid little MGS GIF or GIF. Or what do you say, GIF or GIF?
The debate rages on. I'm with GIF, because if you look at the word, it starts with a G. And the logic I heard was that it stands for graphics. Oh, shit, I'm going to say interchange or interface format. And since graphics starts with a hard G, then the acronym can start with a hard G. And it's way too late for me to change my habit, so anybody else can suck it. I'm going to keep saying GIF.
Good. I'm glad we're on the same page here. I don't know if this podcast would have worked out if you had said GIF.
I quite like the Ideas channel where he just sidesteps the whole thing by calling them jiffs. And
perfect. Moving down the list.
Moving on.
Today's
Independence Day.
Oh yeah, it's a good one. Let's. Oh wow, you got a whole series of stuff here. Let's see what he did.
I've got to say, I just lay on the floor, and I'm not kidding. I just fell off the couch and laughed for 5 minutes. For it was raining on the day I was corn. Oh my god, that was brilliant.
This is the first time I'm opening this. I wasn't around when this was posted. This is
sorry, I spoiled
amazing. No, this is great. Who was this? I got to go back to this. The
lone band. The lone badass motherfucker.
Yep. You completely outdid yourself. I thought I was a fan, but I've never had a complete themed day where I set up little cards and have a Shinkawa designed cake, which is that the Shinkawa design that they did on the icing of the cake is better than 80% of the attempts I've seen at Shinkawa fan art.
Yeah, that crossed my mind. Someone did really goddamn well, not just for the joke of the twin cakes, but 2 really good renderings of those pictures.
They even have little clothes for their dogs. Sniper, Wolf,
oh man,
and Podacon. That's you win. I'm gonna give you gold right now.
Recessive greens, les croissants terribles.
This is just an entire gallery of gold. Guys, if you haven't seen this post, sort by best of the week. You got to see this. You just completely outdone yourself. I'm completely amazed right now. Congratulations. I'm legitimately giving you gold as soon as we end this podcast.
We've got Big Boss riding a shark. Yeah, it was well deserved.
Absolutely. I love that they added the eye patch.
The guy who made... I like how we've got this guy's doing his Hideo Kojima gif in his title. Hey, I'm the guy that made the When You S-Rank the Mission gif. You might like my other one.
Wow, gifs are huge right now. Oh, wow, it's got a little minigun on the bottom, too. Nice.
It's all action. It's a fully equipped tactical shark. With is it a sword on it as well? That's pretty cool.
I think they you really went all out. I really want to see D-Shark in the game now.
Yeah, that kind of made me sad when I realized it's probably not there, and I really want a shark.
Have we gotten any confirmation on swimming or anything yet?
Certainly not confirmation. I think it's a safe bet, but certainly it hasn't been talked about, and I don't think we've seen anything.
As long as we don't get anything like the swimming portion in Metal Gear Solid 2, I'm happy. I don't know if it was the controls or what, but I hate that portion with a burning passion. It has literally stopped me from playing the game because I know that at some point before I get to the miraculous ending portion that I will have to go through the swimming portion, have to have Emma on my back who can't hold her breath but for 8.5 seconds.
Whenever I'm playing, I normally do a Metal Gear Solid 2 run through in 2 sittings. I always stop right after or halfway between the swimming. No, usually after, just so that I know that when I turn it on next time, I'm not going to get demotivated and I can just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Metal Gear Solid 2 that gets me too. I think it's the best put together game of the series. And I think it has the deepest and the best story. But it's also probably my least favorite to play through. Not necessarily because the twist is gone, but for 70% of the game, I have to admit that I'm absolutely bored to death until you get past the swimming portion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I mean,
I get...
Sorry, go on.
I forget. Oh, I was saying I get really absorbed in just, I don't know, the shininess, the smoothness. And other people say clunkiness, but I think it's an incredibly smoothly controlled game. And I know that. I just know the game inside out. And it's a game I can play, and it's almost like having TV on in the background sometimes. I can just think about shit while I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 2. And everything's almost muscle memory, like the entire game, even chucking it on hard. So I haven't had that problem, but that's probably a personal thing where I played it so much I began to like it, and now I like it so much that the more I play it, the more I like it.
I can kind of relate to that, knowing it inside and out and just kind of having it as the TV on the background. I mean, I got the platinum a couple months ago, and you have to go through the game, that many times for the dog tags and stuff. And I kind of got there, and maybe
congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. Likewise, it's not
easy.
No, it's not easy, and sometimes it's not even fun. Like, half the time my motivation wasn't I'm having fun, it's I'm going to have the MGS2 Platinum, and it's going to feel really cool when I finally unlock that trophy.
Yeah, mine was very much chasing up history. I got all the dog tags on Sons of Liberty and then Substance on PS2. I did all the VR missions on Substance on PS2. So then when I got the HD collection, I was like, I'm going to have to do all that again.
Oh my god!
I know that I can do it, which sometimes made it more frustrating when I hit a wall on, say, one of the sniper levels on the VR, and I was like, I've done this before, but I guess your mind blanks out that those 4 nights that you sink into it. The first one just getting not shit, the second time starting to learn it, third time starting to get close to finishing it, and then the fourth time finally you just happen to have a good run.
There was a couple missions where I was like, okay, like I'll eat lunch after this mission or whatever, and I get stuck on it and stuck on it and stuck on it, and like I was so determined to finally beat that bastard of a level that like I didn't even realize that I hadn't eaten in like 8 hours, and then like I'd finally beat the mission and be like, oh my god, I feel like shit. And I mean, like that's how like emotionally draining Metal Gear Solid 2 Platinum was for me. It was a few of the sniper missions, and there was a couple in Metal Gear Solid 1 Snake's VR missions, obviously, where I was like, they didn't even fucking play test this, did they?
Probably not. I don't know. With the old controls, it's the hold up one that gets me. That featherweight you've got to put on the weapons button to raise your gun and lower it without firing off a shot. That takes a very long time to get right.
Oh, that was probably the hardest part for me, aside from maybe one of the sniper missions. But the holdups were brutal, and then I always felt like I was learning stuff that would have helped me after I had gotten the platinum. Like, I think I complained about the holdup thing, and then one of the subscribers on the subreddit was like, "Oh, if you just like hold down like the auto lock button, you can press it down however hard you want." And I was like, "Well, fuck."
That's not quite it. No, you can run. I think I was telling you that you can run while you can keep running and unequip your weapon if you're holding down auto aim. But the other thing that I didn't know is that you can click. I think it's L3 to raise and lower your weapon, and that was a kick in the balls when I learned that.
Well, fuck, I'm learning that like literally right now. God damn it.
How does it feel?
It feels awful. All those sleepless nights. Let's move on here.
Yeah. MGSV, the alternate gameplay demo was here. Damn straight it is. Wasn't that fantastic? We'll get back to that later on. When you S-rank in an MGR mission, same animation with Raiden. Another Reddit drama post. Yeah, it's been a pretty good week.
Definitely. I like that. Like, I missed some of the images because, I mean, I've been busy lately, and some of these are like just really, really clever. Like, even looking at like today's one, Breakfast at Kaz's is cracking me up. Like, just like the facial expression on Big Boss, and he's got the #1 dad mug. Breakfast.
That's so good. Last one, I swear, corporate unit lineup by me. Hey, don't make it your last one. Keep going, man. These are great.
Yeah, no kidding. I love these things.
All right, shall we move on?
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about gameplay. I actually haven't watched the gameplay demos.
That's poor preparation.
No, I was thinking, like, don't get me wrong, like, I've seen all the GIFs of, like, the highlights and the rocket punch and the bandana and all that, but I'm actually trying to, like, save some of the gameplay secrets for playing the game itself, but I don't mind them being spoiled, like, while we talk, and like I said, like, I've seen, like, a bulk of the content that came out of them. Well,
you really haven't. Like, yeah, people are going crazy about the highlights, like, there's a robot fist and there's a bandana, but they're very well assembled gameplay runs. I don't think they give a lot away. It's just the kind of, what's the best way to put it? I never would have thought of that. Like, this is the guy who made the game just gone crazy with how many ways can we do this, and just come up with 4, I guess you call them themed runs. Mm-hmm. But really, like, yeah, you could play that mission when whatever appeals to you. I mean, I guess to me what their video sums up is that they've talked a lot about creating your own play style and doing things the way you want and freedom. And they've talked about it a lot, and they've told us a lot about mechanics, but those videos really show that. Coming away from that, it makes me feel like this game will be whatever I want it to be.
And I think that's definitely what they've been going for. Because I mean, when Ground Zeroes came out, it can be considered a short game. And then, Kojima came out. It's like, hey guys, I highly encourage you guys to play this however you want. Keep replaying it, find different ways. And I mean, look at just the game time people have been getting out of Ground Zeroes, which is essentially just, one mission, kind of like it's all in the same area, pretty confined. But I mean, just the amount of fun you can get just out of the Ground Zeroes main mission.
Yeah, but even in Ground Zeroes, like most approaches, you stealth or fight. But what this video showed off is that there are 1,000,001 ways that you can take a stealth approach, just as there are 1,000,001 ways you could take a combat approach, or any mixture in between. It's really the proof of the pudding to me, which is what excites me the most about that video. I think it's probably the most, who can say that, not the most exciting video we've had, but it definitely fired me up.
What was probably the most innovative technique you saw on the gameplay demo?
Innovative? That
or what kind of kind of thought made you think oh wow, that's cool, or I wouldn't have thought of that, or oh wow, I can't believe that thing they could have done. The
one that psyched me up the most was they called it the surgical air raid. And it's something that never would have crossed my mind, really. But it's actually so Metal Gear. They're doing the same objective, but this time it's absolutely no fucking around. Calling a helicopter deployment directly over the base, full lethal weapons, armor up, combat battle dress, get in, kill everyone, grab your target, chuck them over your shoulder and run out, like that kind of tactical surgical strike. Yeah, never crossed my mind. Never crossed my mind at all. So yeah, it was really cool to watch. It just is purely tactical. Even though it was guns blazing, it was a well-planned surgical little operation, and it only took a couple of minutes, which I thought was really cool. If you want to go back to a mission where you've seen something like a prisoner or something, and you didn't want to grab them previously, you don't want to mess up your S rank or whatever it is that you're doing, you can go, oh, well, actually, you've gained intel. Now you know that there's a target there. And if you've got a spare couple of minutes, you can just strap on your biggest fuck-off machine gun and just keep crashing in at 6 a.m. with Ride of the Valkyries playing and mow everybody down, grab them, get out. You can turn what would have been a long mission into a short mission or something like that to suit your needs, again, that's quite an exciting thing if it's the way they've shown it.
I did see a GIF of, not the whole mission, obviously, but I did see, just the airstrike, and, my mind was completely blown away, because, I mean, same as you, I was like, oh, wow, I didn't think that would even be an option. I mean, just the fact that it's in there. I mean, I've seen so many comments leading up to the last couple of weeks, before E3 and over the last couple of years of people saying, I want to be able to call in a helicopter directly to attack a building or a base or what have you. And I mean, I still think that that's a result. Because I mean, I've seen so many comments of people that were wishing for things that came true. And I really feel like, I mentioned this last week that, they're coming in here and they're seeing what people want and adding it. Or, Kojima's just that in tune with his fans and just kind of figured that would be cool.
And it's the openness of all the systems is what allows that. There's all these different things that all connect to each other in hundreds of different ways. And they've all been thought about ahead of time. So that when you go, what if I do that? Then does it actually pay off?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, just the options, and, you can go back to a mission and replay it however you want. And, you've already gotten the S rank. Maybe it's just fun to, go back and just fuck shit up. And I mean, I like playing Metal Gear Solid, especially Peace Walker, because it's easy to do it in kind of the episodic format to just want to clear your mind, kind of like you're saying about Metal Gear Solid 2. I kind of want to dick around and play around and, see what other methods I can do to complete whatever level I'm on. I mean, Peace Walker already had enough of that. The whole series has enough of that with different methods and stuff, but 5 looks like it's really gonna, give you the option to play the mission literally 100 different ways.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Is there anything still on your wish list that you don't know about or waiting to find out about?
I was just about to ask you the same thing, actually. For a little while, the bandana was on my list, and it looks like that wish came true. And I've seen a couple of people kind of divided on it. I think True Friends Help Move Bodies replied to a comment of mine. I think it was yesterday that, the shedding of the bandana was such an iconic moment in the series that it shouldn't have been in 5. And, like I can kind of understand that. And I've seen a couple people say that too.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's really bugging me. Like, imagine, I used this example last night, but imagine if you had your grandfather's jacket and you looked up to your grandfather and you treasured it, and then you found out that he was a war criminal or something, or that he did something you don't respect. So you go, well, that's it. I don't want your jacket anymore, Granddad, and you throw that jacket away. That doesn't mean you've like sworn off wearing jackets for the rest of your life. Like the big boss threw away the boss's bandana, and it was a token, it was hers. He didn't throw away the concept of wearing bandanas. I mean, it's just a useful thing to wear if you sweat. So him wearing a bandana again does not bug me because it was the boss's bandana that he threw away, not just the practice of wearing a piece of fabric around your head. So that doesn't bug me in the slightest.
That's a very good point. I never thought about it like that. And just to play devil's advocate, don't get me wrong, I agree with you, but I can, see someone, countering that with, it's the same color as the boss's. You might, if you had thrown your granddad's jacket away, putting on that colored and style bandana might be like taking out a jacket that's exactly the same with like the same patches and stuff on it.
I don't buy that. If it was happened to be a bomber jacket, if it happened to be a bomber jacket, and I still wanted to wear a bomber jacket, I would. It's not so much the item itself, just who it came from. I don't think the style is particularly relevant. Maybe that's just me.
Personally, I'm excited to see it. Because,
it looks cool.
I've always had this complaint with, like, the current gen and last gen Metal Gear Solids was that when 4 was announced, I was all geared up to see what Solid Snake would look like in full HD graphics and stuff. And then when the trailers came out and he was about 180 years old, I was like, well, shit. I know there's the face camo, the Metal Gear Solid 1 Snake face camo or Young Snake or whatever it was called, but like it still looked out of place to me. Like the head was like too small for the body or something. And then of course the next one was Peace Walker, and we didn't get to see Big Boss in HD. And when 5 was coming out and all the trailers were coming out, everything looked beautiful, but I was still like, oh man, like I still want to see like the iconic Snake with the bandana and to see what that would look like on the Fox engine.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point. I find it interesting, like they went out of their way in Metal Gear Solid 4, you unlock like ordinary young Snake, and then they just throw you a bone and give you the bandana option anyway. Like, they are paying attention to that kind of thing. It is an icon.
Oh yeah, definitely. Snake, not necessarily Solid Snake or Big Boss, but I've often made the comparison of Snake to Link, where, it might not always be like the same person having the name Snake, but throughout different ages and stuff, Snake has always been the hero, or now the anti-hero, but it's always been the main character.
The player character too is the important part there,
forever.
To me anyway.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
In the same way that Link is just supposed to be the link between the player and the world or whatever, Snake is a kind of shorthand for the player character who has the following characteristics. Like if you look at Raiden, who gets his code name changed to Snake straight away, and mechanically he is Snake. Mechanically he's slightly better than Snake. His rail jump is cooler and is more of an attack or something, and the kick and his punch kick combo is a double hit. That's not much, but technically speaking, he's actually slightly better as an avatar than Snake, but he's still Snake. He has the same skill set. He controls the same, which, you could spend an hour talking about that, but that's what's important.
And I like that you use the term avatar, too, because, even outside of gameplay mechanics, which his are better than Snake's, he's really the best character that was ever utilized to be an avatar for the player, too. Metal Gear Solid 2 was all about, the player being Raiden. And so, not only is he mechanically a better avatar than Snake, but Raiden was probably also had the strongest link to the player throughout the entire series.
There's a more specific link, but I think that's more of a highlight than anything else. I think Metal Gear Solid 1, which doesn't get looked at hard enough very often, there's a big focus on "You are Snake." It's the first 3 words on the back of the box is "You are Snake," and the whole game, a lot of the game is designed around that. Is that you aren't just you sitting on a couch, and you aren't a genetically engineered super soldier, but you're both.
Oh yeah, I totally get that.
a lot of the way the design works, about putting you in the shoes of this character, which is, man, we're going to go way off topic. We should come back to this one day.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot to talk about there. So back to gameplay, because we are wandering. Yeah, wish lists. Well, it looks like co-op's not happening.
Oh, I know. That was the biggest dick slap in the face for me.
Yeah, thinking about what we've heard about how the game works, I can understand it. Talking about reinforcements coming from, other areas and things like that, it sounds like there's probably a pretty big, I was going to say cognitive, but that's not correct, calculation load on the game to work all that stuff out. And if you've got two people in a map at opposite ends, both triggering AI routines of sending guards from base to base, I think that's something you'd have to build from the ground up. And I've changed my mind where I previously said, you could probably just slap another player and you'd be home free. It sounds like that's not the case.
And I think that's probably why they would want to avoid it. And I mean, I was disappointed not to have co-op. But what I was really wishing for, which I wasn't actually thinking was going to happen just with the industry today, was 2-player couch play, like on the same TV. That's something that I feel like no games have these days. When I first got my PS4, my roommate and I went to GameStop to buy it. We bought it. I bought, what did I get? I got a hockey game, which was just for me. My roommate didn't like hockey. We got Need for Speed to play 2-player, and then I got some other single-player game. I think it was like the Assassin's Creed or something. And we got home. We popped in Need for Speed racing game, and we were like, where's the 2-player option? And we looked at the back, and there was no option for that. We're like, what the fuck? It's a racing game. So we went back to GameStop, and this is like right when PS4 came out, and we were like, hey, man, what 2-player games are there? And he was like, what, on the same TV? And we were like, yeah. He's like, Angry Birds and Call of Duty.
Yeah. I've made a point of trying to keep some multiplayer stuff on PS4, but that kind of boils down to fighting games, to be honest. If anyone's looking for a really good 2-player fighting game on PS4, get Nidhogg. It's absolutely phenomenal.
What was it? You broke up a little bit there.
Oh, sorry. Game called Nidhogg. It's a very retro-y kind of sword fighting game. I'm getting off topic. Pick it up. It's very good. It's absolutely worth every penny.
Nice. I'm actually looking for a 2-player fighting game, so I will look at that literally when I get off the podcast.
Excellent.
I think as far as my wishes that are still left go, I mean, so many of them have been granted. My biggest story one that I wanted was to have Zero and Big Boss like actually face-to-face. That sounds like that's going to happen.
Could well happen. Yep.
Probably, yeah, that 50-50 shot at least now. Didn't think it was going to happen, but we've got a shot. As far as gameplay goes, the Rocket Punch got answered. That was one I was really hoping for. Swimming is one that I am hoping for. We brought that up earlier. I want to be able to do a lot of stuff at my friends' mother bases, because it's confirmed we can visit each other's mother base, right?
That's the scoop. That's what they say.
I want to be able to actually like interact with other people's mother bases, like not just go there and be able to stand around and do voice chat. I want to be able to, like play some kind of game or something, or like CQC against each other and, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Again, there's a lot of question marks about what exactly we're supposed to be doing on each other's mother bases. And that'll be fun to discover. Hopefully, maybe they won't give away too much, or maybe this new video Kojima is doing will enlighten us on that. But again, we don't even know what we can do on our own base, let alone what we can do on our friends. It would be fun to go and rough up their soldiers and teach them how to fight. I don't know how that would work, but if you could bring your mate in who's good at CQC, you can train your soldiers, maybe that's a thing.
I want to be able to go to someone's mother base and spray paint dick butt onto the side of one of their buildings.
Yeah, I'm interested to know how weapons work. I saw in one of the previews, block your ears if you're trying to dodge spoiler stuff, gameplay spoiler stuff, that if you killed one of your mother base soldiers, it kind of game overs you and restarts you at your base, which is very odd, but we'll see.
Huh, that is kind of odd.
And it seems really strange to me.
So you can't just get bored and just decide to go on like a massive killing spree.
Apparently not. Apparently they predicted that happening.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed at that.
I mean, it's pretty easy to break the game, or again, it'd be easy to break someone else's game by if they invite you to their mother base and you just like cap all their soldiers and then they're screwed.
Yeah, that's true. That would be kind of. I mean, I guess that would just be straight up trolling if you found someone that had been like just grueling for days on end, like building up this massive army, and then you're just like really good as Snake and went in like killed like literally every soldier, and they came back from like work that day and like it was just an empty mother base.
Yeah, there would be issues there.
Just a bit. I mean, is there anything else that you want to see out of the mother base stuff?
Out of Mother Base, I'm scaling down my expectations for Mother Base. I was running wild with potential ideas, but it sounds like it's not SimCity or The Sims. You know, it pre-builds to a set pattern by the look of it, and basically you can paint it whatever color you want, which is a shame, and it's easy to let expectations run high, especially early on. So I'm just going to stop worrying, stop thinking about Mother Base, and I'll take what I'm given.
Fair enough. I can see that. I had this grand idea in my head. It's not necessarily what I'm expecting. I don't know if you ever tried the PS Home, or I think that's what it was called.
I actually spent a fair amount of time with some friends. We had a Warhawk clan back in the day, and
Nice.
it was actually quite easier to manage it from PlayStation Home. So yeah, I spent a bit of time in that, and yeah, sorry, as you were saying.
No, yeah, that's the grand idea I had in my head where I was like, oh, I mean, this is just daydreaming. It's not what I'm expecting, but it would be so cool to have like that level of interactivity at your mother base and go to like a little movie theater. I know that's something a lot of people have been talking about. And, even if it was just the Metal Gear Solid trailers in like a little theater on the mother base, my head would explode. I'd be so excited.
That would be great. That'd be fantastic.
What about outside mother base? Is there anything you're still hoping for?
Ooh, we were talking the other day about external maps. So, one-off missions that don't take place in the open world, but instead are just targets that happen to exist outside. So they got their own little maps. What I would love is what's the best way to explain it? Let's say you've got to do a raid on a top secret thing that's just in an office, in Shanghai or something. So you deploy from the roof, and it's just a good old fashioned, office sneaking with security systems and like private guards and things like that. I have no idea if that's the kind of thing they're looking at, but using all of MGSV's, gameplay systems, items, weapons, that kind of thing, that would rock my world.
Man, I did not know I needed that until about 1.5 minutes ago. That sounds brilliant. Because I mean, the open world stuff is really cool, but I do miss. I mean, I've been missing this ever since MGS3. The contained bases. I mean, I loved Shadow of Moses. Sometimes loved Big Shell. The tanker, I loved the just like the kind of sneaking around like a modern kind of building type thing like that. I do kind of miss that.
In a real world, like the tanker, I think is phenomenal because it feels much more real because most of us can imagine, most people have been on a boat. Everyone's seen tankers. It feels real because you can identify with it a bit better. Like, I've never been in a top secret military compound. I've never been in a tank hangar. I've never been in a blast furnace. So I assume that's what they're like, even though the logic of Shadow Moses is non-existent. But so, the tanker works so well because it feels like it's a civilian tanker. It feels like a real place and it's lived in. And then the way the traps are set up seem kind of realistic and believable. And guard patrols, and there's a mess hall and a storage room and an engine room and that kind of thing. So bringing it into our world a little more is always kind of ticks a box for me on some level. Even the marketplace in Metal Gear Solid 4, it's brief, but there's a moment when suddenly you're brought into our world really briefly, except there's like big robot, half organic killing machines trying to kill you. But
moving Metal Gears.
Speaking of gameplay, here's something I never knew until really recently. In that sequence in the market, the geckos, because of SOP, no, you're not allowed to hurt civilians.
Mm-hmm.
And you're supposed to, apparently, hide or stick close to groups of civilians because the geckos can't attack because they're not allowed to hurt civilians.
Huh.
Yeah. I just kind of ran through like a chicken with the head cut off and just tried my luck running through that barrier at the end where it does that little low kick.
Yeah,
Sometimes it'll kill you and sometimes it won't. I always just did that, and I got really good at getting through it. But apparently you just stick with a group of civilians and go through the exit with them, and the gecko can't attack.
That makes so much sense, because I've always had problems with that section. I've always literally thought, like, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing here? Like, there seems to be no, like, set path that is the right one.
Yeah, and then especially the second time through, you've got that 50 cal of Johnnies, and you can just kill them all and just collect items or whatever. But no, you're supposed to exploit the system. Yeah.
I wonder if there's a codec call about that or something. I wonder if you can call Otacon, because, I mean, that sounds like something that, it's definitely what you're supposed to do by the sounds of it, but, I mean, there's no indication in the game that, you know, the geckos aren't even allowed to attack civilians.
Yeah, it's kind of mentioned as backstory, and someone covers it during some rambling monologue about SOP, and they can't attack clients or civilians or anything like that. Yeah.
That's really cool, and that's one of the things I've always liked about Metal Gear Solid, is that some of, like, the realistic stuff you'd think would work in the real world, like, would not work in any other video game whatsoever.
Yeah, it anticipates the mindset of a player who would go, oh, well, can I do this? Why can't I do that? But as gamers, we're trained not to think like that. You're trained not to kind of question video game logic too much, so playing a Metal Gear game can be rewarding when you think of something, and then the people who designed it have also thought about that and gone, yeah, go you.
I can't remember. Could you knock on walls in Metal Gear 2?
Yeah, Metal Gear 2.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember it. It's possible.
Me neither, but I mean, at least even with Metal Gear Solid 1, I feel like knocking, and the cardboard box probably too more than anything, is kind of like the first example of, like, well, why can't I just hide in a cardboard box? Or, like, why can't I just knock on a wall like I would in real life, and the dipshit over there would just, like, come check it out, and, like, the footprints and stuff, like that kind of stuff. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, we're kind of trained to not really expect anything to work, and video games just kind of like, okay, this is what the game wants me to do, I'll do this. But, Kojima has been so good at, kind of picking his brain and be like, all right, well, what would I really do in this situation?
Yeah, what would be my first response be? And then what would be my ludicrous, convoluted response?
If I was a cartoon character, what would I do?
Or you can knock on walls in Metal Gear 2, because you have to do it for something, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I think they have a C4 wall, just like in Metal Gear Solid 1, don't they? Or maybe that was punching.
So something like that. I'm sure you can knock on the wall. I'm picturing it, but I don't know if I'm inventing it.
I can hear the sound. It's just a little 8-bit, like, boom. So I feel like it's there.
Yeah, I'm positive there's a tap code, isn't never mind. I'm sure you can do it.
Yeah, my experience with Metal Gear 2 is I played through it twice, like 5 years ago. I don't really remember too much of it, to tell you the truth.
I've played it exactly once when I was at uni, probably not long after Snake Eater came out, actually. I played the first and second. It kind of blurs together, not hugely memorable, but I do remember enjoying it.
Oh, I mean, for sure. And you can see so much of Metal Gear 2 bleed into Metal Gear Solid, I mean, with the story and the gameplay, too. I mean, I feel like the game... It's
practically a remake.
Oh, yeah. I mean, with the cyborg ninja and then the walls and yada, 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 you're right, it's pretty much a remake of it. And I mean, it takes so much of the gameplay from Metal Gear 2, even though it was like a top-down 2D scroller. Yeah,
I mean, Metal Gear Solid is basically a 2D game. It has 3D graphics, but the gameplay is two-dimensional, and that's fine. That's probably why it works so well, because back in the day, people were still struggling to transition into 3D gameplay. There's a lot of growing pains there. I mean, Nintendo obviously nailed it, moving to Mario 64, but a lot of things died. Sonic the Hedgehog's a big casualty of that.
Oh God, rest in peace.
That's a weird one.
Yeah, I think they're trying to reboot it again, but we'll see.
Oh God, when are they just going to go and make? First, they should do an HD re-release of like Sonic 2.
Yeah,
like just get some money for a start. Like, just prove to people you know what the fuck you're doing. Leave the game alone. Just do it in HD with like hand-painted art. Do something interesting. Leave the game alone. And then go, oh yeah, wait, that's why people play Sonic the Hedgehog. And then you can move on again. but whatever.
In trying not to get too far off topic here, but they did I think it was some anniversary game or something where you played as the old Sonic and then the current Sonic. But the old Sonic was, a couple of them I think were taken from levels from Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, but it was in 3D, but it was still side-scrolling, and like every once in a while it would throw like a little like 3-second, like fully 3D section in it. That's how it was brilliant. That's how I'd love them to redo the Sonic series.
Right. Like, I'm not even a Sonic fan at all, but it's a topic of interest for me, just how badly it's been fucked up. I couldn't really give a toss about it, but a lot of people do, so that makes it interesting to me.
Let's see, I think we've been going for close-ish to an hour here. Do we want to save gameplay evolution for next time, or do we want to dive into that?
Ooh, gameplay evolutions. I can't decide. Let's do it. Because we've got a lot of stuff we've got to cut out, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Let's jump right into... Oh, yeah, especially with that long, awkward pause. And this sentence, which we'll probably have to delete.
Absolutely.
We were talking about Metal Gear 2 bleeding into Metal Gear Solid 1, with the story and the gameplay. And I mean, I think the gameplay, as it evolves through the series, the games do just kind of like build off one another. And I think that's one of my favorite things about Metal Gear Solid is that you never pick up the new game, whether it be 3, 4, 5, Peace Walker, what have you, and you think, this doesn't feel like a Metal Gear Solid game, or, oh, they redid all this. They really just kind of build off the last engine.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. I don't think I've ever picked up a Metal Gear Solid game out of the last however many and felt like I was skilled at it or familiar with it. You're always kind of relearning it, and that's the advantage of them being staggered out so far. Probably a weird example would be, and I do not have the vocabulary to describe this, but the first-person aiming in Snake Eater feels different than the first-person aiming in Sons of Liberty. There's a different swing to the aiming, tiny little fixes where I really had to relearn how to headshot from scratch.
Definitely. And I mean, I did the all of the 3 stuff before I went to go do the platinum for 2. And the first, batch of dog tags was painstaking for me to get headshots all the time consistently with the M9, because you're right, there is tiny little twitches and adjustments, and you're right, it's the swing. I feel like Metal Gear Solid 2 is a little bit looser, if that makes any sense.
It's very strange. It's definitely made by people who don't play FPSs. I don't think it's bad. A lot of people say that it's shit. I don't think that it's bad, but I do think it's very unique. So applying previous skills or mindsets to it is counterproductive. But when you learn it, it's absolutely joyous. When you finally learn how internalize the motion and how it weirdly accelerates and all that odd stuff, it's surprisingly effective because you can snap your aim around really quickly. It's probably some of the fastest aiming you can do on a console, really. So when you learn that motion, like the auto aim for a hands up, after playing the game for a while, you completely memorize the motion that is required, like of your thumb, to bring it up to a headshot, which is interesting. I like that a lot because you're starting to internalize movements like a real soldier would. I'm
glad you brought up the muscle memory of the headshots, like after the hold up, because I mean, you're completely right. Especially after you have to do all the hold up VRs and stuff. You're not even looking at the screen to get the headshot. You're just kind of doing that like upwards flick of the analog stick to get it like right where you know it's going to be. And Metal Gear Solid's great in that. I mean, it's very consistent in pretty much everything that it does.
Absolutely. It is a joy to play, and there's a reason people just fall in love with it like that.
I think another thing that they do is like you said, you never pick up a MGS game and feel like you're a pro at it or like you're doing the same thing over and over again. But like the motions and what you can get Snake to do on the basic level are usually pretty much the same. You can usually count on proning and crawling around, except in the game or two. Pressing yourself up against the wall, knocking on the wall, now in this case, the rotating robotic arm. But there's stuff you can always count on that have just been staples throughout the series that you feel like are never going to go away. Yeah,
the vocabulary's always been there, but the language gets mixed up a bit, which is interesting. It keeps it fresh. I had a really interesting point. No, I didn't. I was just speaking of hold-ups. It's interesting how hold-ups and items have changed over time, going from shaking guards down in Metal Gear Solid, which was revolutionary at the time. No, you couldn't shake guards down in Metal Gear Solid, could you?
No, I think that was
Um,
2 was the first one.
they just dropped boxes when they died. That's right. And then moving to Metal Gear Solid 2, suddenly the world is so much more tangible. There's a body in front of you. You can shake it down for items. I remember just falling in love with that. And then the hold up, you can get items. And then in Metal Gear Solid 3, that was the same thing. You hold them up, shake them down, they do the little boogie. And then Metal Gear Solid 4 moved to the pat down.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've finally moved away from it with that more realistic approach to items and weapons. Because I've always felt it's pretty redundant. Like, even when playing on high difficulties, going for big boss runs, I've never, probably hardly ever in my life, really felt the need to go up to a guard and find out what he's got.
Yeah.
Like, it's never an issue, I don't think. I remember my last hard run through, I just did a really quick blat through Snake Eater, and during that time, I spent a lot of time holding up guards to make sure I had silencers and a bit of ammo and things like that, but it always felt a little vestigial, so I haven't missed it in Ground Zeroes.
Yeah,
So
same
far.
here. I mean, like, whenever I do holdups and stuff in 3 and 4, like, it's usually either I'm bored and, like, I just kind of want to explore, or, like, I'm playing with a friend and I, like, want to show them all the stuff you can do. I
Yeah.
feel like there's not, like, too much of a point. I do like that it has evolved. You know, in 2, like you said, you can, like, hold them up and shake them down and stuff. And then in 3, they kind of expanded on that, and once you hold them up, there's a bevy of stuff you can do. You can hold them with CQC and interrogate them. You can slit his throat. You can still, you know, shake him down or whatever and get his stuff. But I like that they keep building on the same concepts from the gameplay.
They tried really hard with it, but I think, yeah, in the end, they've kind of acknowledged that it's just this weird thing on the side. I like in Metal Gear Solid 4, the pat down gives you like a little quick time thing to try and get a whole bunch of items,
Yeah.
which is cool because then if you are desperate for items, you don't have to go around like an idiot holding up like a line of guards. You can just grab one guy, drag him off, hold him up, pat him down, and then be on your way. And you've probably got, you know, his ammo, a silencer, a mag light for your gun or some shit. That was interesting, but again, hardly ever used.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you're actually trying for points or like trying to actually get through the game, it's just kind of like, I feel like it's just like a little addition, which is kind of like a signature by Kojima at this point. Like, he always adds in stuff that's just like, why the fuck not?
I think the pat down was most interesting in Metal Gear Online, just for getting a dog tag, because you've got to go through that whole thing, and it's tense. There's two bloody teams fighting each other.
Yeah.
And if someone sees you as Snake, you're dead. They're going to come after you. So if when you're patting down a guy, yeah, it gets tense.
Did you ever do the first Metal Gear Online that was on Subsistence?
Yeah, I did. Not heaps. I remember playing it for about a month.
Yeah, same here.
It was surprisingly good. I mean, I was in New Zealand with whatever the hell their internet was at the time on a PS2, which was a mind-blowing concept for me at the time as well. Yeah, I had a good run around in Subsistence. I enjoyed it, but I got my ass handed to me after a while when people were like actually learning to play the game. I was like, oh, what?
Yeah, I was playing like, oh, I guess I'm not really good at Metal Gear Solid after all.
Yeah, I have a really distinct memory of fighting in Grannon's lab, and there's a firefight going on. I'm like, oh yeah, cool, Metal Gear Solid, and I leaned up against the wall, and I got my assault rifle out, and I did the lean out to shoot, and I just had received 5 bullets to the face by the time I had my gun aimed, because the guys at the top were doing the first person. Leaning left and right, crouching up and down, precision aiming, and it was a rude wake-up call at how competitive gaming had got, because I hadn't really played online anything for a while. These guys had practiced, and I'm there going, yeah, Metal Gear Solid, I'm sneaky, and yeah, I just got face full of lead for my trouble.
Yeah, pretty much the same experience here. I thought I was just gonna just go beast mode on everyone. I was like, yeah, I've been playing Metal Gear Solid forever, and I beat MGS3 on Extreme. Now I'm hopping on here. I'm gonna fucking own everybody. And I think my first one was a death match, and I went 1 for 14 or something. I was like, I suck at Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, I think Metal Gear Online 2 was a similar experience for a lot of people, which may have turned a lot of people away. People who go, oh, I like Metal Gear Solid as a single player game. I'm going to come in and play Metal Gear Online. And you get in there and there's some really beastly, inhuman, and just stay away from lag switching stuff. There are some skilled play in Metal Gear Online too. It had a very high ceiling for growth. And a lot of people who are just like, yeah, I love Solid Snake, and I like this and that, and go in and just get wrecked, absolutely wrecked. You get outflanked, outmaneuvered, outplayed, and then on the off chance that you get the drop on somebody, you're so bloody excited that they just outshoot you anyway. It's I remember that first month in the beta was pretty brutal.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I was always surprised that Metal Gear went online, and it was one of those games like when Arkham Origins announced that it was going to have an online multiplayer. I was like, oh, it's going to fucking suck. And I kind of thought the same thing was going to happen with Metal Gear Solid when they first announced that Substance was going to have online. Like, I was excited, but at the same time, I was like, why? And then I got on there, and yeah, I got owned all the time, but it was so well put together. And from what we've seen from MGO3, it's just going to be even better.
Yeah, they did a really good job. I mean, it's going to sound really corny, but they took all the principles of Metal Gear and made an online game out of it. It's not Metal Gear Solid Online. It's just it's hard to describe. It's about stealth, movement, positioning, knowledge. That's what will win you a match in Metal Gear Online. It's all the principles of the gameplay, but against human intelligence and not just dumb guards.
Oh yeah, I get to what you're saying. It's they take like the themes of the series, but I mean, it's not going to be you're playing Metal Gear Solid, mission online, yada yada yada. You're not going to be sneak around, sneaking up and choking people to go destroy Metal Gear. But they kind of combined the online experience with the themes of Metal Gear and produce this, what looks like to be a beautiful experience, almost like a separate game, really.
Yeah, it is. It's, similar. Same ideas expressed very differently. And that's quite possibly the smartest thing they ever did.
There's a lot of people on the sub that seem to be concerned that, with Kojima probably departing Konami after MGS5, that the online's not going to get too much support. What do you think about that?
I think it's a valid concern. Yeah, it's really something to keep an eye out for.
I normally wouldn't.
I don't know what to say. I don't want to be a big negative Nancy, but I really think it's a potential issue. Yeah.
I necessarily wouldn't be concerned because I mean my thinking on it at first was like, oh, they're still going to keep pumping out Metal Gear Solid. They're still going to want this to be successful. Of course, they'll still support it. And then I thought back to MGO2, and I was like, oh, they didn't really support that too much at all.
Well, I don't think that's fair. Like, everyone's pissed off that they closed it down. And no, they didn't support it in the way you'd expect a Western game to be supported, sorry. But they released three? Was it Gene Meme Sing? 3 pretty cool, feature-rich expansions at a pretty decent price. Regularly hosted, the survival and tournament modes. They had a lot of tournaments, real-life tournaments in Japan. They had an international contest where the best team or something like a bunch of best teams internationally could all go and play. They certainly kept it going, but the way people traditionally see support in online games, especially in the West, is not what they were trying to do. So it also feels like they've tried to address that by opening Kojima LA, which is now Konami LA. But we'll have to wait and see.
I think that's kind of probably like where my thinking on it came from, was that for support, I was more thinking of things, like stopping the lag switchers and the hackers and yada, yada, yada. But I mean, to give them credit, you are right that as far as like maintaining an image and still like spending some money on it for, marketing purposes and stuff, they did do pretty good at that with MGO2. I will grant them that.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to draw the difference between, you could say it wasn't supported, but that doesn't mean it was abandoned. It just, they didn't pay attention to the right things, especially the forums. Good lord!
Oh my god!
It's probably one of the worst places on the internet. The Metal Gear Online forums, completely unmoderated, just turned into this massive, international, global hate fest. I can't even remember the specifics. I'm sure it was the Italians, who was universally loathed by the French and the Spanish. I don't know if it was some sick experiment to prove the point of Metal Gear Solid 4. I've got no idea, but. Yeah, there was a lot of toxicity on there.
You should need a Tor browser to go to the Metal Gear Online forums. It should be on the deep web, and you should have to go through all of these hoops just to get there. Because, I mean, I think there was a time, you know, like towards the end of it where people were actually like doing like, from what I heard, I never actually saw any of it myself, but I heard that there was like drug deals and shit going on.
Oh, okay. I've never heard anything like that. I've just been going by tone. But, you know, that would not surprise me in the slightest. It was the Wild West in the most innocuous of places. Well, and what's also funny is that if you went to the ranked servers in the last year, you could never get an actual game. They were all boosting. It was all people who just got together, and they were friendly. And there was this weird standoff where you've got to all get the same amount of points. So everyone had to bring a shield and a gun, and you would shoot at each other's shields until everybody had 30 points each, which is the max points you could get from defending bullets with a shield. If everyone was equal on 0, it wouldn't count as a win. But if you're equal with points, then you would all get the rewards and go be able to buy a red hat. And it's just this really awkward standoff because all it takes is one person to headshot somebody and it just fucks the whole thing up. So you've got to build this circle of trust over the course of like an hour before you can start resetting games so you can get reward point games. It was a very odd thing, and it was addictive, not so much because I cared about points and items, because I never played the game otherwise at that point. I wasn't showing anything off. It was just this fascinating social thing. Yeah, I haven't got anywhere else to go with that, other than there were a whole lot of little havens all across Metal Gear Solid Online. Like, we had this one room for Australians, and it was always the same. So the password is the Australian Prime Minister's last name. That's all we needed. And we kept connection, like no lag, nothing like that, good ping. And it was probably 12, if I remember right, 12 to 16, just Aussies and New Zealanders just playing some Metal Gear Online. It was really fun.
And I love that you could do the private games in that game. That was brilliant.
Yeah, pretty much saved it.
Something I would love to see in the PC version of MGO3 is dedicated servers.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that really, assuming that the modding capabilities are open, you know, that opens the doors for custom maps online and custom weapons and other mods. And, I mean, can you imagine playing Shadow Moses in MGO3?
Exactly. And I remember early on, and there's a couple of quotes from interviews, and we're talking like a year ago plus, of Kojima talking about being quite interested in modding in the mod scene. So that possibility is always there.
We can always hope.
Yeah, we've heard so little, so I don't know if that's cause for alarm or not. Or, you know, they can't talk about dedicated servers. Does that mean they haven't confirmed it internally? Does that mean they don't want bad news to get out early? There's so many ifs and buts and things like that.
When do you think we're going to see a big dump of information for MGO3?
There's the Euro GDC is in August in Cologne. That could be it. I don't know if that's what people mean by Gamescom. Otherwise, there's something else called Gamescom that's also coming. I would expect something before it comes out. Much more than what we're seeing. They've told us, they've constantly been saying there will be information coming. They've been really big about that. So it sounds like they're finalising. They can't say things that haven't been locked in as part of the product, because that's just suicide. We've all seen people who've done that before. Lots of games go, yeah, we've got this and this and this and this and this, and the game comes out and they go, oops, we couldn't do it.
Yeah, Watch Dogs comes to mind.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto Online as well.
Yeah, don't remind me. If I could even get the thing to run well on my computer anyways, it's always crashing.
Okay. I enjoyed it on PS3, but not enough. Even though I'd enjoy it more on PS4, not enough to buy it again.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's a very, very well put together game, and the things that you can do are endless. But like, I actually wasn't going to buy GZ on PS4 after I got it on PS3, because it just felt like, you know, I was just spending money to play the same game again. Luckily, I lucked out and got another copy for free. But long story short,
nice.
Yep, I could never go back either. I mean, I see a lot of people asking, like, you know, I'm thinking about getting MGS5 on my PS3. How will it run? And, you know, the answer is usually pretty split, but I personally couldn't go back.
It would take me a while to get over it, but I don't think you're going to miss out on much by playing it on PS3. That's only my opinion.
Oh, no, like, I couldn't go back to the graphics, but I don't think it's going to be by any means a bad experience.
No. No, I don't think there'll be anything missing. I think they're going to be pretty clear about that. They've put a lot of effort into that kind of thing, and that's kind of the whole point of Fox Engine, really. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, apparently they can just fiddle with some things on Fox Engine and then hit export, and they got like a whole game right there.
That seems to be how it works. It's being built live, and then you just kind of master it for your platform. It's a pretty good way of doing it.
Good on Kojima. I hope I don't know, like if I even expect the new Metal Gear Solid games to have Fox Engine, but I'd certainly hope so.
Well, I mean, it's just sitting there now. Konami have got it. It'd be weird not to use it.
I mean, an engine like that must have cost some money, so I can't even fathom them not using it.
Anyway, any more gameplay evolution? We're kind of touching and launching and coming back to that.
No, I think that wraps it up for that guy. Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just throwing ideas out. There's not much to talk about non-lethally. Oh, yes, there is. Yes, there is. So I don't know if you caught in the new gameplay trailer, one of the loadouts involves a assault rifle that fires rubber bullets. So it's essentially a non-lethal combat weapon.
I did see a post about it, but I didn't see like the menu options or like any gameplay of it or anything. That did catch my eye though.
That's pretty much what it says on the tin. It's an assault rifle that deals stun damage instead of real damage. So immediately I was kind of concerned in that, part of the fun and the challenge and the interesting part of going non-lethal is that it really handicaps you in combat. You can't just bust out a gun and mow people down. You're relying on a semi-automatic or whatever it is, not even semi-automatic, a manually reloading pistol that you have to headshot someone with every time. That's interesting, or CQC, and now you can bust out your trusty gun and just wipe someone out and they won't die. So that was my initial concern, but it seems pretty balanced. They've said due to the ballistics of rubber bullets, there's far more bullet drop. There's no penetration of what it looks like on the stat. It's not a particularly powerful bullet, so maybe that's balanced well. That's going to be a wait and see for me, and hopefully maybe it's late game. It's interesting that they've increased the tactical options for non-lethal, but at the same time, one of the defining aspects of playing non-lethally is that it limits your tactical options.
Yeah, I'm actually, I didn't know how I quite felt about it when I saw the little comment about it, because, I had the same concerns about you. I assume, or I hope it won't, you won't be able to silence it, certainly.
Yeah, good point. Well, surely not. Surely you can't silence rubber bullets, or else they just go about 3 feet.
That's very true. But, at the same time, you're right. You can just walk around with what happens if you can upgrade your chain gun all the way? Can you put rubber bullets in that and just walk around and absolutely decimate everyone in a base? And, non-lethal, S rank.
Yeah, I think they're basing it in reality. Like, they're just essentially, I don't know about toy weapons, but crowd control weapons, which are pretty specifically engineered. I'm no gun guy. Let's get a gun guy on the podcast and we'll talk about that. If you're a gun nut, flick us a message when we post it, and we'd love to hear your thoughts.
I've actually got he lurks on the sub, but he doesn't really post too much, but my old roommate lurks there every day. He's probably listening to this at some point, but he's a gun fanatic.
Okay, we've also got to remember the right username, Codeman Griff or something similar, he did like 3 or 4 really awesome in-depth posts.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then a whole bunch of people came out of the woodwork, and it reminded me that there's a big community of Metal Gear fans who love their guns. And MGS, it seems to me, it's not something I can personally pick up, but it seems that MGS goes out of its way to really cater to that crowd in terms of accuracy and faithfulness. There's always mistakes, and there's always going to be mistakes, but if you go to the IMFDB, the Internet Firearms Database, that was a whole new world for me. That is talking about exactly what stuff from real life each of the games uses, how it's accurate, how it's not, the details of reloading animations and things like that. Very interesting. So hi, Gun Nuts. It's great to have you with us.
No, yeah, for sure. And like Flash said, if you're a gun fanatic and you want to talk about some of the guns, in Metal Gear Solid, that'd be a great topic to just kind of pour over. So, reply to the post. Let us know you want to be on here.
That'd be fantastic. And anybody else, if you've got something that we probably haven't thought to talk about, I don't know, I can't think of examples because I haven't thought of them. But if there's something you think you want to talk about, please let us know. It'd be really cool.
Yeah, I'd love to have you guys on here. I mean, because we're catering to the subreddit. We want you guys to be a part of this.
Yeah, if you have in-depth knowledge on calorie mates or something like that, hit Chef, I'm looking at you. But on food, or if you happen to know a lot about snakes, like actual snakes, or Markor, or the various birds of Southeast Asia, then drop us a line.
Or if you live in any of the places that Metal Gear Solid takes place in, are you from Afghanistan, Africa, Manhattan?
Not Peru from Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah,
if you live on the street of, is it Prague?
Yeah.
Act 3?
If you live
if you live in like a dusty old bomb shelter in Alaska, please let us know.
If you're currently living in a war-torn Middle Eastern country with no access to the internet and have giant battle tanks outside your window, come on to the podcast. You can do that? I'm so jealous of that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think that about wraps it up for episode 1 of the CODEC Moments podcast.
That was a lot of fun. Thanks for listening, and feedback welcome. We will catch you next time. Catch you later, Scuff.
See you later, Flash.